If you've been inside a Target recently, then you've probably wondered where all the people are. Things have not been looking good for Target. After all, the sales are falling, the foot traffic has been decreasing, and the stock price has had a really rough go of things. And now, amid all of their customers being upset at them, Target has decided it's high time that they also make all of their employees mad at them as well. Target Corporation employees who work in merchandising and sourcing were notified Thursday that they will be expected to go back into the downtown Minneapolis headquarters office 3 days a week beginning on September 7th. Other departments have received similar notices in recent weeks as leadership pushes for more face time without issuing a company-wide mandate. Today's email came from Target's Chief Commercial Officer Rick Gomez, who oversees the retailer's entire product assortment from home and apparel to food and beverage, including owned brands, insights, and merchandising. Quote, "More time together in the office will help us grow our business faster, solve problems quickly, and build smarter, stronger relationships," Gomez wrote in an email that a Target spokesperson confirmed was sent on Thursday. Employees will be allowed to set their own schedule and choose which 3 days work for the best for them and their immediate work teams, Gomez wrote. And I have to roll my eyes every time I see something like it will grow the business faster, solve problems better, and build stronger relationships, because I know essentially no one that prefers in-office work over working from home. And I think Target knows that as well. So probably there's something more going on here. And it's easy to imagine that it has something to do with the fact that Target is struggling quite a lot. And not only is it struggling, it's struggling at a time when they've been actively increasing the number of employees they have while simultaneously losing net sales and revenue. And we can confirm this because Target actually publishes this corporate overview where it talks about everything going on with the company. And here we can see from 2020 to 2024, net sales in 2022 were 109, then it dropped to 107, and then dropped to 106. So we've had 3 straight years of net sales going down, along with operating income. It was pretty bad in 2022, recovered a little in 2023, but now it's down again in 2024, and presumably it's also dropping again in 2025. And we can come on down here and see what I mentioned earlier. They had 440,000 employees. They fired a bunch of people, presumably because their stores weren't doing as well, and then they've hired back a bunch of people, but this comes at the same time that their net sales and operating income have dropped year over year. We get some more specific numbers here. You can see 2024, their net sales in Q1 are down 3%, then they went up, then they dropped pretty significantly at the end of Q4. And remember, Q4 is the holiday season. That's when everyone's buying. So for the full year, primarily because of that Q4 drop, they were actually negative for the year of 2024. And the comparable sales, which is just comparing it to the previous year, was basically flat. So things are going more poorly. As you can see, net sales are down at a time when there's less money coming in, but also more people that they need to be paying for. And this is reflected in Target's stock price, which, as you can see, over the last 5 years is down 14%. And if we go from like 2021 to today, we're down about 60%. Even though there's been a small, tiny recovery, it is not looking good or going well. And if we go to the S&P 500 over the same time period, we're down 15% there. We're up almost 94% at the S&P 500. And I like to compare this because if you were a single stock investor going all in on Target, you would be down a lot of money. But if you were just diversifying in index funds like the S&P 500, you would have almost doubled your money in the past 5 years. Now, the stuff we just looked at in that corporate overview, that's hard data, numbers directly from Target, so we know that those are correct. But there's also some additional adjacent data that we can look at to see that things for Target are going pretty badly in 2025 and potentially worse in 2025 than they did in 24 or 23. Fortune magazine talks about this and says for the month of May, foot traffic fell 1.6% year over year. This is talking about Target, which, while nothing to pop a bubbly over, was less grim than previous declines in February, down 9%, March, down 6.5%, and in April, down 3.3%, according to Placer.ai, which is just a company that tracks foot traffic going into retail stores. While correlation, we'll say it again, is not causation, the traffic slump began after Target announced that it was rolling back its DEI efforts on January 24th, the day after President Trump said that he was acting to, quote, abolish all discriminatory, diversity, equity, and inclusion nonsense throughout the government and the private sector. And then here's an interesting comparison. Costco, which rebuffed calls to dismantle its DEI program, saw its foot traffic increase 5.5% year over year in May, following increases for the previous 3 months when traffic fell at Target, up 2.2% in February, 7.5% in March, and 3.4% in April per Placer.ai. Foot traffic has been down 16 of the last 18 weeks at Target, inching into positive territory only for the weeks that began in April 14th when it was up 0.4%, so basically nothing, and April 21st, which is up 0.1%. For the same 18 weeks, traffic was down at Costco for only one of them, falling 2.5% on the week that began April 14th. And probably this 0.4% that we see here, and then the 0.1% is well within the margin of error. So there's a possibility, albeit a small one, but there's a possibility that their foot traffic was down 18 out of 18 weeks. It's impossible to know for sure, but there is a chance. And the Costco comparison is really interesting because at a time when an adjacent retailer, I mean, they're not exactly in the same industry, but they're pretty close, is doing quite well. Costco stocks are up. Target is doing pretty poorly. Also, if you're enjoying this video, I'd love it if you gave it a like. I'm a tiny channel and it really helps out. So basically everything for Target is going down. The stocks, the foot traffic, the net sales, and so on. And that's because Target ticked off basically everyone at once. It started with their Pride collection last year, where they heavily featured Pride merchandise for children. And this upset a lot of conservatives. And whether or not it should have actually upset someone or what your values are either way is kind of irrelevant and up for debate. But what matters is that conservatives got upset about this, and as a result, they chose to boycott it. It is worth noting that Target has done Pride collections for a lot of years now, but most likely due to the political contentious landscape, this year it went viral and people got upset about it. After the boycott, Target, I think, panicked. They saw their sales starting to go down, their foot traffic starting to go down, their boycotts, people were upset at them. So in order to appease this, they took the next opportunity they could, and when Donald Trump was elected, they said that they were going to roll back their DEI initiatives, hoping to appease conservatives. However, as you probably know, instead of appeasing conservatives, what they did is they just ticked off all the liberals, and none of the conservatives cared. So now we've got the conservatives who are still upset and boycotting over the Pride collection, and also the liberals who are upset and boycotting over the DEI rollbacks. Target has ticked off everyone at just a biblical scale, and it's basically the same thing that happened to Tesla, where liberals were ticked off because of Elon Musk's government involvement, and now conservatives are ticked off because Elon Musk has called Trump as a visitor of the island. So with both sides mad, it's easy to see why Target is having almost 18 straight weeks of foot traffic and sales decline. And now Target is stuck between a rock and a hard place. See, if they do layoffs, then that looks even worse for the company. People will start dumping the stock, the executives won't get those juicy bonuses, which we know is the most important thing in business, but it will just reflect poorly overall. So what they decided to do instead is issue return to office mandates. These are sometimes called soft layoffs, and it's where you do something unpopular with the intention that employees will be upset about it and quit. That way you don't have to do things like pay out severances, deal with potential lawsuits over, disability accommodations, or make your stock price go down because it looks bad that you're having to lay people off. So I really think that's what's happening here. Probably things started going bad when Target was in the midst of a hiring spree to try and boost their stores so that people enjoyed going there more. So when they saw that that was happening, they decided to make a return to office mandate with the hopes that employees would just leave on their own and they wouldn't have any issues or any problems, and it wouldn't look bad on the company that employees were quitting. And most likely, this will actually work. Basically, every return to office mandate that I've known about and seen has actually resulted in people quitting. But I suspect that Target is still going to struggle for a while longer as people from both sides continue to be upset with them, and also just have alternatives. If you're upset with Target, you can go to Walmart. And if you're going to Walmart and you get in the habit of going to Walmart, well then, now you're a Walmart customer. Why would you go back to Target? It'll be interesting to see what happens next and if they're able to turn the company around. Thanks for watching.